Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth.
And danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings.
Sunward I've climbed, and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds.
And done 100 things you have not dreamed of.
These are the voyages of the starship Erebus. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Alrighty then, and welcome everyone to the much anticipated, super long overdue. It's been 2 months since our last session, but we are back in action, and we have a new main cast member with us here this evening, or morning, or afternoon, or whenever you're choosing to watch this VOD. Bri is back. He's been with us twice before. We're super excited to have him on as a permanent crew member, stepping in for Shas, who our former crew member Matthew. Life happens. He had to step away. We love him. We wish him well, but we're super excited to have Bri, the server mod guy, here with us. But as is tradition, we're just going to go around the table, have everyone quickly introduce themselves, tell us who their characters are, and then we're going to have a quick recap from myself, and then we're going to dive into some scenes with our characters to get back into character and sort of explore where the Erebus is right now and how the crew is dealing with an unfortunate and somewhat untimely death of their former head of science, Shas, who has unfortunately passed away since the events of last session. But let's go around the table. We're going to start with Brian. We're going to go Brian, C4A, Mandy, Aaron, and Drew. Brian, take it away.
Hello, I am Brian, also known as Bri, also known as Mind Over Brian on both Twitter and on Twitch, although I spell it on Twitch with a 0. And I'm playing Lieutenant Bar N. Hall, a Pendronian science officer.
Very good. C4A.
Hello, I am C4A, and I am playing Lieutenant Commander Stern, the ship's doctor, the human doctor.
Very good. Shmandy.
I am Shmandy. I am playing Lieutenant Phelan. I am the head of security and a former warrior of the Klingon Empire.
Aaron?
And hello, everybody. I'm Aaron. I'm playing Captain Ezra Shruth, the Andorian commanding officer of the Erebus.
And Drew Baca.
I'm Drew Baca, better known as Drew, and I am playing Lieutenant Commander Flitz, the formerly android, now human chief engineer,
but still with
of the Erebus
brain, which is interesting. How's that working out for you?
We're not happy about
moist.
it. It's very moist. Just don't like it.
And of course, I am Darewolf, the Game Master. Super excited to be here and super glad to be playing. When we last left off, our intrepid crew of the Erebus, they had been transported. There was this massive explosion, this sort of ticking pulse had been coming, and they waited unfortunately too long, and the pulse exploded in this shockwave, not dissimilar to, if you've ever seen Voyager, that sort of shockwave that shunted them tens of thousands of light years away, over 70,000 light years away into the Delta Quadrant. A similar sort of event had happened to the Erebus, shunting them halfway across the galaxy to the more, galactic northern regions of it. It would have taken them years to get back to their location, but they had discovered a space station that seemed to be terraforming subspace and turning it into something different. It was this singularity that was both a white hole and a black hole, and it was pulsing somewhat sporadically, and they had found this space station that seemed to be controlling it. Once going onto the space station, they had interacted with these strange creatures. There was a Klingon doing circles, there was this android, and they had discovered that this supposed ally, a member of the Gohad Centaurum, his name was Ewik, was actually attempting to speed up this process. He was attempting to turn the station, and he was mad. He was completely insane. Maybe there was a reason he was in that prison. But with that being said, you had managed to harness the power, stop the terraforming, from destroying the majority of that section of the galaxy, and used its power to shunt yourselves back on a very similar sort of shockwave to relatively close to where your last position was, right near the wormhole, with those several locations to discover. Now, what's really exciting though is you had also found that the item he was carrying, if you recall, you had a bit of a side quest, to save Ardal's people, the Ikal. And you had managed to gather all of the required items. You had completed the quest markers, as it were, and were able to return to the planet and offer this cure to them and their sickness, their inability to reproduce, and their planet was dying, and you had given them hope. Ardal was given a choice to return to her people or stay with the Erebus, and she made the choice to stay with the Erebus. When questioned about staying with the Erebus, she simply said, "This is my home now. This is my home now." And she's been really taking it seriously, training with different departments, and it may surprise you, but she has really taken a shine to security. She's really taken a shine. There's something about the structure of it, not necessarily fighting or combat, but this sort of protecting this home. There's very much this desire to make sure that her family, as she sees it, the crew, is protected. So she's been shadowing Lieutenant Phelan and other members of security more often. So let's say if she's spending 100% of the time doing these different activities, a good 80% of it is spent with security, as much as she possibly can. She's even taken to occasionally wearing the red fatigues, as it were, the red personnel uniforms. But we're going to open our first scene. We're going to open our first scene actually down in main engineering, where a less sweaty than he has been before. You've learned to properly use deodorant, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, but you are down in main engineering. You have just recently left the Ikal homeworld. It's been about a week, and you're traveling out into deep space from this particular solar system, and really no particular direction, just focusing on long-term scans. And the ship's been humming relatively well. In fact, nothing has broken in the last 3 days, which, I mean, on a starship in the future, things break. They just break, and you're constantly fixing things. Not necessarily, like, just things need to be replaced, etc. It's been quiet, and there's a general mood about the main engineering of, I would call it, boredom. Now, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, you were an android when we began this campaign, and through some strange, weird shifting of reality, you have become human, and while your mind still functions as a positronic brain, you're starting to feel these human, I would call, emotions. And the one that you're experiencing right now, I would describe as restlessness bordering on boredom. As you look left and right, you're perhaps standing at the main station. You see the lights are everything's nominal. And you see that there are two ensigns off to your left side, and they have a ball that has been formed out of some like synthetic fibers, and they're playing catch with one another. Just playing catch. And I'm curious, you're feeling bored. I'm going to give you some emotions. You're feeling bored, you're feeling a little restless. Does it bother you? Do you choose to join in? What would you do in this situation to try to alleviate the sensation of boredom?
Yeah, he's okay with it. The tasks of the day have been done. Maintenance is up. There's nothing on their duty roster for the day. He's not overly interested in playing catch. That's not a it's not a challenging task, but as he's watching them, he kind of looks at his hand, and then looks around. Is our girl around anywhere?
Yes, Bronson is sitting at one of the engineering consoles, and she's just typing away. but you see she's actually not doing anything engineering. She's researching, I would say researching. She's looking up different species of whales. We don't know why. She's just doing whales. It's like, oh, blue whales and belugas and the unicorn whales and she's just like scrolling through just whales. So many whales. Just all whales.
He gets up and walks over and kind of hunkers down next to her and just very quietly says, I think I need to cut my fingernails.
She jumps slightly, almost as though she's been startled. Oh, Flitz, Lieutenant Commander, forgive me. Did you know that blue whales are unusually loud even for a creature of their size? I mean, like really, really loud. And of all mammals, they have one of the largest hearts possible. I mean, not just the largest hearts because of their size, but also, I'm sorry, I'm boring you. Did you say you need to cut your fingernails?
I believe so. And he like holds them up. They're long. There's white at the tips.
And she tilts her head to the side.
And he looks just so perplexed.
Right. Right, because you're, well, human. Right. Okay. We need nail clippers. Which let me get to a replicator. I'll get some nail clippers, and I will teach you how to properly clip your nails. Yeah, I can do that. This will be fun, Lieutenant Commander. This will be good. Stay right there. She turns. She walks over and computer. Set of nail clippers, circa 2022 Earth. This little like metal metallic pair of little nail clippers, small, like a travel size. She comes over and she teaches Flitz how to clip his nails. She teaches him how to like not curve it too much so you get hangnails. She shows him not to go too close to the pink or the quick, right? And Lieutenant Commander Flix, give me a fitness security difficulty of 2, not to cut yourself.
I mean, it is the first time.
It is the first time. Don't clip too short.
I don't have any focuses that
I know.
To clip your nails. Yeah.
I'm gonna spend 3 thread. No, I'm just kidding.
Somehow nick an artery.
You're bleeding all over the console, damn it.
Do we have any momentum?
You do not. You can give me threat if you want to.
I'll give you threat.
All right, how
I'll
much
give you threat for a third dice. Just
does he have to roll to cut his nails?
Yes.
Apparently.
I need to roll
and
to cut my nails.
And he's cutting his nails at work.
Yeah.
This is not the most asinine thing I've had to roll for in my career as a gamer. It's close, but not the most asinine thing that I've been asked to roll for.
Oh, that's momentum. Let's go. He is a master nail clipper. You do it with the precision that only an android could. Perfectly trimmed, no nicks, no cuts. Even Bronson looks slightly impressed, and she was trying to give you advice, and it came naturally to you. She watches you finish, watches you check your nails. There is almost a little bit of a proud sort of expression on her face, and she says, in a bit of a hushed tone, she leans in. She goes, "Flitz, how are you doing? I mean, really doing?"
I hate this.
Right. I mean,
this was never my dream. I've heard of other androids who just longed to be quote unquote human. And I was very happy being as I was. Being biological, not being in control of my emotions, my impulses, and the functions of my body. Mm-hmm. He kind of stares at his nails while he's talking about this. It's unsettling. This is never anything that I wanted.
There is a beat she sort of looks down and then up and then reaches out almost instinctually to place a hand on your upper bicep and just give you a light squeeze. There is a tingling sensation that you experience at that touch. Maybe it's comfort, maybe it's something else. But of all of the human emotions you felt, Flitz, the pain, the sweat, the smells, everything, this strikes you as slightly different. There is a comforting sensation, a warmth to it, that may give you pause. You may brush it off. That is up to you as a player. But it's different than everything else.
He pauses for
It's a light
pauses for a
squeeze.
second. Oh, sorry.
It's just a light squeeze. No, light squeeze. And then she pulls her hand back and offers a warm and genuine smile. Continue, please.
He smiles back, reaches down and picks up a pad. Oh, oxytocin. Yes. Thank you, Lieutenant. And he smiles and just kind of walks off.
She's like tilts her head to the side. She's like, sure, Flitz. And then she goes back to her console and starts researching killer whales. So
Write this down. Clipping nails makes him happy.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We fan away from main engineering, and we are actually going to pivot up to the bridge, where it's like B cruise time. There's a couple of officers on there. You're just at warp 4. You're not traveling too quickly, and really just sort of just some general folks. Captain, you're not there. First officer's not there. It's a lieutenant of some sort sitting in the captain's chair, and more importantly, we have Lieutenant Hall at the main science station. And this is at this point your second week. This is your first week in your current role. You've been field promoted to head of science, chief science officer, and it's been boring. I mean, you did some scans of the Ikal home world. There was a cool asteroid that came by that was like mostly nickel and a lot of gold, which was cool, and it had like a strange colored ice trail for some reason because of the alloys and metals reacting with the water vapor and ice that was on it. But other than that, it's been relatively boring, right? And I'd like you to take a moment, since we've never met this character, I'd like you to describe the character before I introduce an NPC to interact with you. So please take it away, Brian.
So Pandronians are green. Sorry, Bella just decided that she needed to get down. Pandronians are green, but they are also colony creatures. So actually, the head, the torso, and the legs are all individuals that combine to form one individual, and they can exist separately, and they communicate telepathically, so they can essentially remain a unit. Separately.
Are you the same race as Bem from Star Trek the Animated Series?
Yes.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So I am potentially able to wander around with being just legs, or being just a torso, or being just a head. He's got dark green skin. He's got sort of a shock of red hair and a red beard. He has tried to style them in such a way that they are similar to human styles to fit in. So it covers up some of the different facial features, and relatively, like, I would say, husky, in the sense that since each individual part of him is effectively a whole damn person. He's a little. He looks big for a humanoid, but also very prissy. So it's very clear, like, he's very clean. His uniform is pressed. This one is very, like, he's adopted all the mannerisms that you would expect of a human nerd, and just
Okay.
clearly picked them up from like a roommate in Starfleet, and just like has maintained that same persona.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So you are at your station looking at countless readouts of god awful nothing. God awful nothing. And you hear the doors to the bridge open, and out steps one of the engineering officers, who is a Vulcan by the name of Lieutenant Junior Grade Tapar. Lieutenant Junior Grade Tapar. She's wearing her sort of like a yellowish engineering style uniform. She has the pointed Vulcan ears, and she carries that ever stoic and very emotionless sort of expression. And she does a quick scan of the bridge, sees you, and begins to quickly, briskly, I would say, walk over to you. Lieutenant Hull, yes?
Yes.
I understand you had requested some readouts of the main sensor array, and I have them here for you, sir.
Excellent. I am hoping to use the schematics and the settings to coordinate a simulation of ambient axionic energy bubbles. Perhaps it will serve some purpose in future, but it would be very interesting in the present.
She raises an eyebrow, a Vulcan indication of curiosity. Axionic. Forgive my ignorance, Lieutenant. What would be the potential use of such an experiment in the future?
Well, if we can create axionic energy bubbles, then it may be possible to transmit energy to a stranded ship, for example, without needing to physically interface.
Her eyes narrow. She thinks for a moment and actually clicks her tongue. Almost a humanoid, sort of human kind of response to it. Curious. Could we not do the same with a simple tractor beam and the deflector array? What would be the benefit of this over that?
Ah, well, a tractor beam does, in effect, establish a connection between the two vessels. There's the example of the Romulans using tractor beams to transfer information, or the Klingons using it to transmit a transporter beam on the sly. These bubbles would be confined to themselves, and thus there would be no actual connection between the vessels, allowing power transfers to ships in quarantine.
She nods her head slowly, considering.
Additionally, there are power considerations. The tractor beam requires a certain amount of power, whereas axionic energy bubbles would have a relatively low power requirement beyond the amount of energy you wanted to shift into the bubble.
Such a process would limit risk as well as increase efficiency.
Indeed.
If you require any assistance with this, Lieutenant, I would be interested in applying what engineering expertise I can.
Well, excellent. Once I have worked out the mechanics of it, perhaps I will set up a simulation in holodeck 1, and we can verify my experimental findings.
I look forward, as before she finishes the forward, your console goes, it's picked up something on, I'd say, mid-range sensors. It sort of just appeared out of the blue, and this is interesting because it's just been space. Just space. Space is empty. It's as full as it is, it's really empty. And you've just picked up something. It's a tiny little blip, and I'm going to have you make the first roll of your new character. Yay! So excited! You're going to give me a control science with a difficulty of 2. Focuses that you have, let's figure it out. Sensors, astronomical weirdness.
I have exotectonics, so if it's like an earthquake in space.
I like it. I'll allow it. Yeah, that sounds good.
Submit. They changed the interface here.
Did they?
Try. Yeah, well, I mean, since I've played with this particular setup, the input values are different.
Oh, they did update the character sheet. You're right. Yeah.
It's slightly different from the one you're using in your game too,
Yeah.
Brian.
Nice.
Hey.
Difficulty of 2. That is a success. You picked up. Do you recall that asteroid I mentioned? That was made of nickel and gold. You took some
Yes.
pretty detailed readings because it was the only interesting thing. Comet, I should say. It was a comet. And you pick it up again. But what's strange is that the water vapor trail, the coloring, everything's the same. But instead of just gold and nickel, you're now picking up several additional elements. You're picking up also what appears to be some carbon, and it's just slightly modified. You picked it up about 2 days ago, and it was traveling the other way. Now it's traveling back to you. The reason you know that it's the same comet is because it's matching 90% of the same readings. The computer is telling you this. Now, you are Chief Science Officer, so you also get an additional 1 question that you can ask, something specific, if you want to use it in this moment.
Are the metals that have been added to the comet's composition, are they the type of metals that would be present in a ship's hull?
Ooh, yes, they could be.
In which case, Lieutenant Barr will raise his hand to the Vulcan, and then turn, Lieutenant, I'm picking something up on sensors that I think you should see. I'm forwarding it to both the command station and technical.
Send it over. What am I looking at, Lieutenant Hall?
You may remember that the excitement of 2 days ago was the comet that you see on screen. However, this appears to be the same comet traveling in the opposite direction and with some additional compository materials, which would be consistent with a starship hull.
Is it dangerous? Is it a threat, or are they simply following us?
For the moment, it remains a scientific curiosity. However, it does appear to have changed direction to re-enter our sensor range.
The lieutenant that's currently sitting in the captain's chair drums his fingers on the armrest. He's considering. If it begins to make its way towards us, or shows any sort of power increases, anything out of the ordinary other than the fact that it's turned around, let me know and we'll alert the captain.
Aye, sir.
Very good. Thank you, Lieutenant. And he goes back. And the Lieutenant Junior Gray that's with you, to Paul, she looks down, scans over it for a moment, nods. Lieutenant Hall, do inform me as soon as you have the experiment prepared. I do look forward to it. She dips her head, turns, and will depart.
This one looks forward to it as well.
Very good. Speaking of looking forward to things, we're going to pivot down to... You said, Stern, that you've been a little bit in the dumps. Where has Stern been spending the majority of her time processing? Is it the medical bay? Is it
Yeah,
the
she would
Arboretum? Is it like where
focus. Sorry, she would try to distract herself with work.
Okay. Distract herself with work. So it's been very quiet in the medical bay. A couple tummy aches, a bumped elbow. No one's gotten, the Bolian flu, so it's been very quiet. The medical bay is spotless. You have likely gone through and cleaned it, 16 times in the last 48 hours. So
I keep finding random parts that Harak has stowed away. I'm just
You keep finding his emergency bacon.
It's that long pork.
Ew.
If we remove the head, it should help.
Waste not, want not.
But you are in the process of pulling out a piece of Harak's bacon. from underneath
Oh,
one of the medical
God.
beds. I don't know.
Big.
I'll pay you to never say that again.
It's vacuum sealed, so it's fine. It doesn't make it better. So, but you hear the doors of the medical bay open. Perhaps it perks you up, perhaps not. And you see a familiar face. It is the Commander Maston. Commander Ulrich steps in. He is carrying some sort of box in his right arm, kind of tucked under, and in his left hand, he has a data pad, which he is sort of glancing down at. He looks up, meeting your eyes, looks down at the data pad, and offers a little bit of a cheeky smile. Lieutenant Commander.
How can I help you today?
Well, I've been suffering from. It's really hard to explain. Maybe I should sit down, Lieutenant Commander. It's just been. Really, it's just been eating at me. It's this sort of gnawing, just constant sort of just gnawing sensation that I've been experiencing. Which bed should I use?
And she'll look pointedly around at the completely empty sick bay.
He will march over to the Harok's hidden bacon stash, and will just like hop up onto it. He sets the little box down, and you realize what the box is. It's like a travel sized chess set, maybe with magnets, and it folds over. It's got a wooden sort of frame. It's a little, you can see the little magnet, and there's a little hinges and stuff. And he sets it down next to him, and he takes his data pad and he sets it down. He says, really, it's just, oh, it's hard to describe, Lieutenant Commander. It's just, well, you see, the issue has arisen that I have a friend, let's call him. I have a friend who's very, very dear to me, and well, they've been dealing with an incredible amount of loss, and I find myself unsure of how to, well, help them. And it's, if I'm being honest, it's just been candidly breaking my heart. And I wish there was something I could do to help, but, well, you see, they're not the most outspoken of people. They're not necessarily the best at sharing their emotions, but is this making any sense, Lieutenant Commander?
So you're saying you're not in actually physical pain?
Not directly.
You do know that I am not specialized in mental and psychological health.
But you are a doctor.
Yes. I'm not sure how to help you. While she's doing that, she's going to throw the questionable meat into the disposal.
The computer screen
be
flashes
recycled.
red for poison for a moment, and then
Yeah.
it gets vaporized. The Commander Ulrich tilts his head to the side, slightly curious, and then looks back to Lieutenant Commander Stern, and his expression is one of concern and genuine care. Stern, you have to know that you did everything you possibly could. And as a doctor, you have to know that sometimes there is simply nothing you can do. Look, I know whatever there is between you and I is infantile at best. But above and beyond that, I am your commanding officer. And I care about each and every member of my crew, and I know you're hurting, and I want to help. As a friend, as a colleague, as perhaps something more. Do you know how to play chess?
I do not.
Would you allow me to teach you?
Well, when I get off duty, I suppose I could spare an hour or so.
As much time as you can, Stern.
Is this a long game?
It doesn't have to be. I can teach you the basics in about 15 minutes. It'll take a lifetime to master, but we have time.
Out of character, is it 3D chess or just regular?
Regular chess.
Okay,
Just
okay.
Regular old chess.
Because I was like,
Regular old chess, dude. Regular old
Okay.
chess. Yeah.
He's gonna teach you stratagema.
Yeah. He
what is it?
That's what you do when you play
Yeah.
stratagema. You did look it up.
Yeah, that's stratagema. That is true. But he
I'll show you.
he
Okay.
pops off of the medical bed. He leaves the chessboard. It's folded, so it's a box. It folds. You unfold it. And the pieces are magnetic inside. So he leaves it
Nice.
there on the bed, and he takes his data pad and he walks a couple paces away, turns and says, "Bring that with you. Let's meet in Let's meet on deck 3, observation deck. I'll book it for an hour. Fair?"
Sure. She will take the box off of the bed and put it on the nearby shelf, and then proceed to start wiping down the bed,
Go start
just
to
in
wipe down the bed.
preparation of anything.
Anything that happens. He looks as though, as your back is turned to him, as though he wants to say something else, but realizes he's probably said enough. He makes his lips thin. He turns. He walks. You hear the doors open, and you hear the doors close. And I'd like to stay with Stern for a moment. What's going through her head right now? Let's get into I want to get into her brain just for a second. I want to understand psychologically what she's experiencing. Take just a minute or two and just kind of like, let's go into the mind. Let's go into
Well, it's been 3 weeks, you said?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, so it's not as hard hitting still as it would have been the 3 weeks ago. And I mean, she knows that logically, yes, she can't save everyone, but it still bothers her to lose people, and she would have spent her time when she wasn't working, brushing up on things, trying to learn new developments, trying for both human and Xeno, as that is one of her specialties. Probably, as Ulrich had suggested, not being very social, but it's just mostly not trying. I don't know. Yeah, just trying to stay busy, because if it's quiet, then the intrusive thoughts win.
Gotcha. Well, she continues to clean. You get all gold stars for cleanliness in your work areas. So good job.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Love to see that. On any sort of inspection that happens, 10 out of 10, maybe even 11. Let's pivot on over. Captain Ishra, you're off duty right now.
Mhm.
You've had dinner. It's later evening, as it were. What's Captain Ishra doing to relax on a random evening aboard his ship?
I tell you what. I'm gonna roll a D100.
Love that.
And GM, before I roll that, you tell me high or low.
Ooh, you're using my trick.
Wow.
I'm gonna go high.
You go high?
Ooh,
Low. Okay.
high.
He's indulging in a passion of his, a lifelong passion, and that is laboratory science.
Really interesting.
So he will be in one of the modular science labs, running a minor pet project on alternative applications of subspace harmonics.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So you are working on alternative blah 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 harmonics. That's good. I like that. Are you dressed in your uniform, or are you?
Oh yes. No,
Always
he's in his uniform. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. As you are doing this, the doors of this modular science bay open. And in steps a black-haired Vulcan-looking woman wearing a Starfleet uniform.
Mhm.
And there's a moment where I mean, everyone on the crew looks slightly familiar, but there's something that sort of stands out to you. And as she goes to step in, her eyes go slightly wide. She's carrying a box with a couple of like a tray, I would call it, a tray with some like vials and things like that. Like she was carrying a little science tray where they have like the vials can stick into it. And there's like little like holes and stuff. And she jumps and it rattles. And she almost drops it, but she manages to hold on to it. She goes, "Oh, Captain,
What's her rank?
Ensign. I didn't know this bay was. I should have checked the door, sir. I'm so sorry. Oh, this is
Ensign.
embarrassing.
Ensign.
I'm shaking, and the bottles are rattling. Just ching, 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 ching.
The captain will suspend his experiment for a moment and approach her, and if she lets him, he'll take the rack from her, just so she doesn't drop
the
it.
Rattling stops.
Yeah, and he'll say, "It's fine, Ensign. I was off duty. Thought I would indulge myself. I didn't realize this lab had been signed out."
No. The thing is, it hadn't been signed out, but also, it didn't look like it was signed out, which it still meant it was open. So I don't think you actually signed it out correctly, sir. Not that I would judge what you're doing. It was oh man, I sound really stupid.
No, Ensign, you're right. I didn't sign it out. Anybody is welcome to work in here with me. I see your focus chemistry.
All of the vials appear to be filled with. Not appeared. All the vials are filled with different colored liquids. Imagine a rainbow of liquids going just straight down the color palette, right? So like you've got your reds, blues, greens, yellows, oranges, etc., and then the last one is a clear liquid. It looks like a rainbow. She's carrying a rainbow of vials, as it were.
Chemistry, Ensign?
Sort of. I mean, yes, if you looked at it from an objective standpoint, but I mean, the reality, it's more of an art project.
An art project?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yep.
Would you... The lab is quite large. There's ample space for you in here.
Oh, you want me in the same with the captain? I could, but that.
Ensign, you know, I'm only a Starfleet captain. It's not that big a deal.
I mean, I mean, you're. She closes her eyes. She takes a deep breath in, deep breath out.
Ensign, what I am?
Counts to 3.
Yeah. What I am, Ensign, is a scientist.
Her eyes open. Her breathing calms. Her shaky hands stop shaking. And she looks at you with more of a relaxed expression.
For instance, my experiment right now. In the late 2260s, there were experiments in an alternative to warp travel using subspace derivatives called soliton waves. I'm attempting to determine if there's a practical application to using that to propel our probes.
Wow, that's actually really interesting. I was just trying to create a new color for some art.
You know,
like a purple that was also kind of blue, but also sort of green, depending on what angle you looked at it with. Which I know that kind of paint already exists, but I wanted it to be something that you could also see if you couldn't see, like how Shas couldn't really see, but I wanted him to be able to see color with. It's kind of stupid, but I'm just never mind.
No. You know, the sort of limited telepathic ability that the Enar possess operates, well, it operates along the narrow EM band. So some minor additions of relatively benign radioactive isotopes would allow somebody who was both telepathic and vision impaired and Enar, very specific, I know, but would allow them to, in essence, see it.
Her eyes brighten, her expression grows excited, and she starts to stammer, but instead of nervous, it's an excitement. She goes, "That's exactly what I was thinking, Captain. And I was thinking that if we did this, it would allow the Enar members of our crew, like Shas, but it could allow them to even use this to express themselves in paintings, or we could use it as a type of visual braille to let them know, what areas of the ship were dangerous or not dangerous." And I realize that they have ways to do that, but it would be an additional just telepathic. And she just starts to stammer on about how excited she is about this. And you're a captain, you've dealt with crew, you can see that likely at some point she'd had an interaction, of course, with Shas, and she has been taking his death relatively hard. I mean, he wasn't the most conversational person, but he was also a damn good scientist, and everyone gets a fangirl or a fanboy at some point, right? And apparently she was a fan. And this particular ensign's name is Ensign Simone Anderson. Simone Anderson is her name, and she blithers for a while, and she's excited about this experiment.
I think while she does that, the captain's just going to take her things over to a table, set them down, and then let me just check something.
Sure. If you want a Type 3 phaser, it's 2 momentum, so just let me know.
Jeez.
Let's see.
This is what happens to people who monologue in this campaign.
You want to feel loss? I'll show you loss. That's whack. It's all whack. You're all whack people.
Here we go.
Terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible.
I'm looking for a good, yeah. And he goes over to the replicator and says, "Computer, 120 picograms of cobalt-59.
Okay. Computer replicates it. Perfect.
Yeah. And so it's a very, very minuscule amount in a powdered form. And he's sort of got it in almost like a petri dish, but not quite. And he takes it over and sort of sets it on the table and says, "That is harmless in that amount. Add that to your mixture, and it should, in theory, be visible to the Enar indefinitely."
And I could increase the intensity along the colored spectrum, and then it would be a simple task of teaching them how to read it, and then they could see color, they could paint with it, they could express themselves in ways that the sightless cannot.
A worthy endeavor, I think.
Her eyes water slightly, and she looks over to the captain, and there's a gratitude. Thank you, Captain. I'm sorry for being a bit of a spaz when I came in.
No, not at all. I recall an Andorian ensign who was very quiet and didn't like to be under the eye of his commanding officer.
Would you mind if I stayed and began work on this, sir?
Yeah, he'll gesture at the table and says, "I believe that's your workstation."
She smiles and moves over, and
Yeah.
as she does so, your comm badge chirps.
And he'll tap it. This is the captain.
This is the first officer to the captain.
Go ahead, Commander.
Do you know how to play chess, sir?
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Normal or three-dimensional?
Normal. How long would it take you to teach me it?
Oh my God.
I can teach you the basics in about 10 minutes.
Meet me on deck 3, observation deck.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna move on over to Schmandy. Schmandy, Lieutenant Phelan,
Yes.
my man. Late afternoon, late evening. You know, you are. What are you doing? You're not on duty. There's a lot of off duty right now. What are you doing?
Phelan, even though he's off duty, he is still kind of making his rounds. He even in good times, he doesn't really know what to do with himself when he's not on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after the incident on the station, he has had he's had a lot of trouble being able to, turn it off, so to speak. So he's still just going deck by deck, just kind of checking all of the various corridors, and he finds himself kind of slowing down in the arboretum, or the area where Shas would always sit there and play his flute.
Mm-hmm.
He, always found that incredibly annoying. Well, he never, never had a whole lot of words to speak with him. He's almost annoyed by the fact that he can no longer be annoyed by it. He sits there and kind of broods for a little bit, just says to himself, ridiculous, and then continues on.
As you say ridiculous, you hear a voice. You recognize it as our doll. I'm sorry, you guys are blowing up the Discord, and it's really fucking funny. And this is supposed to be a serious scene, and I'm like losing my mind because that's just some funny stuff, guys. Like, why does she even say to go with God? That's funny as hell. I love it so much. I love it. Anyway, moving on. So you hear your voice, and it is our doll, and she says, "Sir, what's ridiculous?"
A bit of, I suppose, I'd hate to call it sentimentality, but regret. I believe, admonishing myself a little bit, I believe I've lost something of my edge.
She squints slightly, looking him up and down. She's wearing the security reds. She has a little belt on, and she's actually wearing like a Klingon, like the Klingon bandolier thing. She's wearing one of those too. Like, she's getting into it. And she goes,
"Oh, she's got the baldric?"
"Yeah."
Hell yeah.
She's like, "I don't mean to be disrespectful, sir, or speak out of turn, but I believe you may have lost your edge. I've been following you for 15 minutes, and you didn't notice." When is the last time you slept, sir?
I have not been sleeping well, that is true. The incident I blame myself for much of what occurred.
They do wear yellow. Forgive me. It's the yellow. I'm terrible. Continue.
When we first encountered Iwick, I placed my trust in him. I was responsible for bringing him onto the ship. Because of that, one of my crew and another member of the ship's complement are both dead now. Mr. Chethane and I never got along. You know this. My last words with him were an admonishment. I spoke to him about my dislike for his beliefs. I never resolved that friction. And again, he is now dead because I placed my trust in the wrong person. I've dishonored myself.
She stands up a little straighter, not that she was slouching, but she puts her shoulders back. She looks maybe an inch or so taller. And in not perfect Klingon, she says, Bath go lak kwaple, which translates to, it is not the way of honor to live with regret. She takes a step forward, and with as much strength as she can muster, she shoves Lieutenant Phelan, almost as though she's issuing a challenge of some sort. She repeats herself again. Bath long, quith bath be. Once again, she steps forward and attempts, at this point, to shove you. Does he respond or simply take it?
I think he will attempt to intercept.
Fitness security against her fitness security. And let's see what happens. She's calling you out, dude. She's calling you out. Let's see what happens.
Where's my character sheet?
Yeah,
there
what
you
are
are.
those? I don't know.
Been a minute.
I don't know what that means.
All right. Fitness security. Focus from hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna spend a threat to give her an extra die because I'm a real stick in the mud. Ooh, that's a good roll though. And yeah. Ooh. So she goes to shove you, and you. What do you do? Describe. Do you grab her? Do you block? Do you redirect? What do you do?
As she kind of goes for a shove, I bring my hands up initially, kind of like that, and kind of do a double arm wrap. You are learning well, but you have much learning to do. And I'll let her go.
And she takes a step back then, her eyes not burning with rage, but with an intensity, with a seriousness, almost bordering on slight disappointment.
Tell me, while you are finding the energy to use your strength, have you been sharpening your mind as well?
Do you think it does Shah's honor to mope and walk around feeling sorry for yourself?
That is a valid point.
She moves into a sort of slightly crouched, like grappling position. The challenge still issued. She has pushed you once, you have pushed her back once. And this sort of soft-spoken, almost quiet girl that existed on the ship is now really, really emulating this sort of almost aggressive, Klingon-like attitude. And as you do a double take of her, you almost think you see slight ridges on her forehead, like she's changing slightly.
Interesting.
And she crouches low and offers this Klingon-like growl to you. So will you continue, Lieutenant, to dishonor his memory? Or will you stand up and be a true warrior?
I believe the best way to commemorate him, as well as our ensign Rojas, would be to direct our energies towards the people who destroyed him. The Centaurum are still out there, and we must be prepared to face them. Tell me, are you familiar with the game Klinja?
Her crouch low. Slowly she stands back up. Any sort of Klingon features seem to fade. She once more looks like Lieutenant Commander Stern's twin. Her expression softens. I am not, sir. This is a Klingon game?
A game of strategy. An equivalent to the human game of chess.
Jesus. Is that what this episode is?
You've developed your physical prowess impressively. Let's see if we can sharpen your mental prowess as well.
She nods. I would like that, sir. Thank you. And she follows you off to wherever you have this game set up, and you guys play. You can play a couple of rounds of that. That was fun. Good scene, man. That was awesome. I like that. You handled that very, very well. That's cool. So what I'm going to do is I want to open this up real quick. I wanted to get a couple of vignettes, help you guys get back into character a little bit. Does anyone have any scenes they'd like to have with each other? I want to simply open it up. I can also just sort of set up some meet cues for you guys. But is anyone hankering to have a moment with someone else?
I kind of want the captain to be there when Stern comes in to play chess.
Okay, we can do that.
Can
That's
I
fine.
kick his ass, even though I've never played?
Probably. Let's find out. So we cut to a scene a little bit later, and we've got Captain Ishra and Commander Ulrich are sitting in the forward observation bay on deck room on the deck 3. You've done probably 30 minutes of chess. He's got the basics down, right? He's like, okay, so this one moves diagonally. Is that right? It's called the bishop.
The bishop, and don't stop calling the knight the horsey.
But it's literally a horse.
I know, but stop calling it that.
Why did I have to pick this game? I could have gone with checkers. It's just I literally asked the computer, what's a good game of strategy to keep your mind off of things, and it said chess. And then I really remembered.
Do you know
how to play chess?
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't pick something about strategy. Why does it have to be about strategy? If the point is to distract and take your mind off something, why not Domjot?
Oh my god.
I'm really bad at this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really bad at this. Yeah.
Well, bad at what?
I don't know
Who are you distracting?
They're all going to play Cards Against Humanities.
Stern. Doors open, Stern walks in.
And the captain is... hello, Doctor. I was just leaving.
Oh.
Oh, Commander. Checkmate.
He's like, damn it. All right. So the Stern and Commander Ulrich will play an hour or so of chess. Stern,
I want to say something as I pass her.
Please do.
Please say something like you can do better, because you're right.
Yes. No, he's just as he walks past, he's just going, what is it exactly you see in him? And
what are you talking about?
And he's gonna give her like one of these.
That's so funny. Oh man.
Stern's tempted to just leave at this point. She's just like,
Just chuck
like,
deuces. She just chucks deuces and goes.
what's happening?
So if she chooses not to leave, you guys will play some chess, make some small talk, and it goes as well or as poorly as you want it to.
Okay.
But he's genuinely just trying to distract her from everything and, spend some time together. And maybe you play a couple rounds of chess. You win most of them, and it is what it is. But it's quiet, and it can affect Stern positively or negatively as you see fit as a player. The goal, though, is there is a genuineness to him. There is this... He wants to help, right? He's not great at this. He doesn't exactly know what to do, mainly because she is so stern, right? Said the thing. But, with that being said, it goes as well or as poorly as you'd like. Any other scenes anyone else would like to have? Brian and the captain. Captain.
Mm-hmm.
Brian. Captain, be ready. Brian,
Yep.
remember that asteroid?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's been
The comet?
moving closer and closer towards the ship. And it is gotten close enough, and you have picked up that it is indeed scanning your vessel. But it's a weird type of scan. It's shooting out water vapors that are washing over the ship, almost like tiny nanites, as it were. And she should have just deuced. What does she see in him? That is so fucking funny. It's so funny. I love it so much. It's hilarious. But no, it's shooting these like vapors out that are kind of covering the ship in this like water vapor cloud. Not affecting it, no power drains, it's not damaging the shields. It's just like it's like it's feeling you. Like it's trying to understand. It's almost like trying to understand. It's just like, what's this? It's like a kid when they learn how to pick things up. It's just like touching it. Like, what's this? I'm gonna try and bite it, right? That's what's happening. But it's interesting enough to where if you alerted the lieutenant would have told you to alert the captain.
Oh, for sure.
So take it away. Alert the captain.
Bridge to Captain Shrew.
Go ahead.
Captain, this is your chief science officer reaching out to alert you to what may be a danger to the ship in the form of a comet which has acquired new compository elements and appears to be scanning the ship.
Thank you, Lieutenant Hall. I'm on my way.
Bridge out.
Captain, you have left the forward observation bay. You could see the look on Lieutenant Commander Stern's face that she wanted to leave, but something pulled her in. Probably pity. More pity than anything else, as it were. But you make your way out to the bridge. Your side chatter is sending me, guys. It's so good. I miss this so much. You have this.
We haven't talked in so long.
It's so much fun. I love it. It's so good. It's so funny. I love how everyone just shits on Commander Ulrich. It brings me so much joy. Everyone shits on him. I love it. All right. But you've made your way up to the bridge, and Brian, go ahead and give me another control science. This time it's going to be a difficulty of 3. As what? They murder each other. That's a really funny gif. Anyway, moving on. It's so funny. Let me just bring it back in. You guys,
That's how she goes.
I'm having fun, and I'm really glad we're
Yeah.
playing. Thank you, everybody. It's so fucking good. All right, so Brian, give us a control the theme of today's episode: chess, and how it's
Chess.
kind of lame. I love chess. Yeah,
I just keep watching it.
it's so good. It's subtle.
Oh no.
It's
Wait,
like it's like she watched enough Star Wars to know that Han shot first, so she's just doing the hand thing.
Oh my god, that is the best GIF I've ever seen.
Oh, that's really funny. That's really funny, Phelan. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Oh.
Right.
We're
I
never
just,
going to accomplish anything.
no, but I'm
So many apologies to anyone watching this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
really you can't see what we're seeing, and I'm sorry we're excluding you, but just take my word for it. It's really fucking funny.
A
Just
lot
take
of
our word
gifs
for
of
it. We're
Comedy
hysterical.
geniuses. Trust me.
Oh, I can't breathe. It's so funny.
Check us out on OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
Okay, so what
yeah.
we got a control
Science.
and science. Difficulty of 2, Brian. Thanks for your patience.
Man, no problem.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh god.
Oh God!
Okay.
No.
Boy, you really took that throwaway joke and ran with it.
Just
right into the-
No,
delete
put it
that.
back. That was really funny.
Right into
I
the
don't
end
want to have to
zone.
experience
commit
it
to the bit.
twice.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's
The answer
fucking-
is Ruffles because you have an ad with chips.
Today is a good day to subscribe.
Glory to you and your house.
She did the eyes too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Glory to
That's
you
his, those are
and your house.
his bedroom eyes. Is the Gowron staring?
I would like to
Yes.
use my chest to assist myself. It's a talent I have called
Okay.
Colony Creature.
Do it, man. Do it. Just roll. I can't with this.
like Brian, what if your legs one day just like decide to fuck with you and just
They
not
could.
like and just like walk somewhere else with you?
Yep. But then my torso can just float there while the legs go off and do something else.
But what if your torso and your legs conspire against you and grab your head and abscond with it?
I mean, I guess that's.
Oh wow.
We probably have to
Oh
get
my
a divorce, and there's
God.
a whole thing where we got to find some more.
Jesus. That's fantastic. Whew. I'm glad to see everyone laughing. That's all that matters.
What the fuck is this?
All right, so here's the thing. You remember how I mentioned that it seemed like it might be a ship?
Yep.
You are picking up what appears to be some form of crystalline life. Now, you would know based off of Starfleet records that crystalline species do exist.
Mhm.
You're thinking less and less of this as a ship, and this is some sort of living organism that is probing you, basically. Like, what's going
Right.
on? What
So
is
there's not
this?
individual elements of crystalline life. The thing is infused.
Correct. That is what you're picking up. Yep. 5 minutes into Chadish and chill. And he gives you
Chadish.
that look. Chadish. That's what the.
Oh no! Why are you? You are my friend. Are looking for Parmak in all the wrong places.
Is it safe for me to Google these things?
No.
You can Google Parmak. That's fine. It's a safer word term.
Yeah, Shadish
Okay.
is just the ritual combat.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Chadish is the one who performs the
Brian,
ritual
this
combat
is
on
a
behalf
brand
of the
new
one who's
scene.
yeah.
It's
Never
Oh,
mind.
right.
So
We're
you
gonna
get a
just
free question if you want it.
Amazing.
You're gonna have to edit the shit out of this.
yeah. This is you're gonna
This
chop
is all
this.
going in.
Oh
okay,
boy.
great.
I apologize for anybody who's watched to this point.
Do I have another? So
Oh my
the
God.
water mist, is that how, like, is it clear how it is maintaining communication with that mist tendril? Like, is it essentially attached, or is it?
not, but you could ask, how is it maintaining a connection, if you want to phrase that question.
How is it? Sure. How is
That
it
thing you said.
maintaining
So you know how
the connection to the water
you know
vapor?
how our nervous system is just electrical impulses? There are tiny bits of energy pulses.
That is hypnotic.
Not. Jesus, that is really hypnotic. I can't. Wow, that is. I gotta put my hand up. That is crazy.
Thank you. Oh my god,
I'm
that was,
so distracted.
I was stuck.
What am I talking about? Right, energy pulses. There's
Water
a
vapor,
kind
something.
of the water vapors, you realize, are filled with these tiny little crystalline, like little like pyramids that all
Mhm.
seem to be acting as little conduits, and there are these pulses of energy, like little sparks that are traveling along it that seem to be going back and forth, in a split second. Not dissimilar to the human nervous system and how it functions and sends pulses to the brain. It goes back to the core of this comet, etc. So, yeah.
Lieutenant, I believe that we may be dealing with some sort of life rather than a vessel.
Captain, you are on the bridge. You hear this. Captain on the bridge. Lieutenant gets up, steps away from the chair, and goes up to the console behind it.
Yeah, the captain will take his seat and look to the science station and say, Lieutenant Hall, report.
I believe I have just established that the anomalous comet is actually a life form of some form rather than a vessel. I have put it on screen with some and forwarded some salient notes to your panel.
Could the small crystalline lattices be a method of communication?
It is certainly appears to be drawing information about us. However, whether or not we are able to interface with it is unclear at the moment, Captain.
Nevertheless, I want all relevant sensor data fed through the universal translator.
Aye, Captain.
In the meantime, security, if it closes to within 50,000 kilometers, take the ship to yellow alert and raise shields.
Beautiful. It continues to pace you, and that's interesting because you guys are traveling at warp, right? So it's keeping up with you, which is pretty fast for a crystalline life form. But it does not close distance. It does not close the gap. It just continues to sort of reach out with this space vapor, right? This like vapor with crystals, and it's just like feeling around the ship. No damage, no interaction. It is literally like a child picking up a little toy starship, and it's just like feeling it and just investigating it. Other than that, it's not really doing anything else for a moment.
Captain, if I may?
Yes, Lieutenant?
If we were seeking to interface with the creature, perhaps polarizing the hull to the correct electrical wavelength would allow us to send messages of our own along the creature's nervous system, as it were.
Let's see, which captain am I going to rip off today with the proceed command? Oh, I got it. Yeah. And he just sort of looks at Hall and goes, "Do it."
God damn it.
Alrighty.
Yes, Captain LaBeouf.
My favorite captain.
Oh, Captain Palpatine. Mm.
Do it.
None of us can help ourselves.
Open hailing frequencies. Wait, no, shut up. We come in peace. Shut up.
I love democracy.
No, all of you, shut up. Like everybody's laughing in the background.
Admiral Palpy.
You'll just lower your shields. We can.
My good friend Darth Vader, who's a very nice guy. He's going to come over.
It'll be
What the
fine.
fuck?
It'll be fine.
Listen, let Uncle Sheevy tell you what's going to happen.
Peepaw Palpatine.
Think of me as your friend Palpatine. Think of me as your pal friend Patine.
It's in my name, Palpatine.
All right, science officer person. How do you want to do
Yeah.
this?
I would like to polarize the hull. Essentially, I want to
Yes,
create an electrical field, like a low latent or a high latency. No, low latency is the one I want. Electrical field around the hull so that we can essentially, like, it'll interface with whatever electrical impulses they're sending, and then we can sort of try to figure out how to try to establish communications with it.
So as soon as you polarize the hull, a sort of garbled tonal noise comes over the ship's speakers. It's over across the entire ship. Even down on the observation deck 3, Ulrich is about to make a pretty good move with his horsey and put Commander Stern's king into check. But then there is this sort of noise that kind of sounds like a whale call, weirdly enough. And it echoes throughout the ship. He kind of gets startled and knocks a couple pieces off and is like, damn it. I guess we'll have to restart. He was losing, by the way. So that's funny.
You don't have to get frustrated at the game just because I was failing.
I wasn't frustrated. I was I should probably go see what that is. We should do this again sometime. It was nice. And you're smiling, which is good.
Oh no.
Wait, what is... What the start shooting? We've traveled to 1980 San Francisco now. Are we gonna free Willy? Anyway,
We gotta rescue George and Gracie.
George, I love it. So, yes, but he will. This is Commander Ulrich to the captain.
Go ahead, Commander.
Are we playing whale noises over the loudspeaker, sir?
We are attempting communication with a spaceborne organism.
Is it a whale?
It certainly doesn't look like one.
I'm on my way, sir. I'll work out. And he will smile, nod, quickly clean up his magnetic chess set, and just leave. He's just defeated, completely and utterly defeated. But as he gets to the door, he will turn back and he says, "Thank you for finding the time." Gone, leaving Stern to her own devices. With that being said, the commander does get up on the bridge. Still has the chess set. He tucks it underneath his chair, sits down, and takes his station. Lieutenant Hull, you were able to shut the noises down momentarily, but it's definitely sounding like a whale call of some sort. And you begin to run it through the universal translator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the computer's coming back with. It's not words, it's sounds, right? And it's translating it as distress.
Do we have any cetaceans on board?
Like the dolphin
we should have a cetacean ops.
Are you talking about the dolphin crew members?
Yep.
Or beluga whales, or one of any number of cetaceans?
I'm gonna go with no. I'm going to go with no. And then I'm going to say, but maybe, if you guys tell me to do. I very rarely say no. Do you want to have some cetaceans on board?
Have some what?
Cetaceans.
The beluga
Like whale people.
That's up to you,
I mean,
Captain.
also dolphins.
Are we
Yeah, that's
concerned
true.
for our well-being?
It's a little too easy if we do. Just
Yeah, let's say no.
Okay, I'm fine with it. Either
Yeah.
way. But so no, you do not. But it's not a sebation. Am I saying that right?
cetacean.
Cetacean. That's what I said. We'll fix
They'd
it
probably
close.
be in science
But I'm
belugas.
saying that it's not that language. The Universal Translator picks it up, but it's not that language. But it is definitely whale-like, and it is indicating distress, and maybe even a little bit of fear. What do you want to do with that? What's the game plan here?
Well, I tell the captain. Captain, the life form appears to be indicating that it is in distress, perhaps some amount of fear, according to the computer.
Game Master, I want to check the scans. So you said it was like an asteroid.
So I want you to imagine a long, almost
Comet.
teardrop-shaped asteroid.
Is it like
comes to,
is
a tip. It's like a comet, not an asteroid, comet.
okay? Hang on a second.
It has
I'm
a
gonna
long, sort of bluish ice trail.
hang on. I'm gonna send you a thing.
Mhm. Direct DM or in the group chat where you guys
I'm
are
gonna-
just being ridiculous.
I'll send it to you
love
as
it.
a direct
I
chat because
do.
the way you described it made me think of this.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Because it's alive.
Yeah. Yeah, just like that. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Not this exact thing,
Interesting.
but something just like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Do we have any internal scans of it?
You do not.
Lieutenant Hull, can we direct our sensors towards it in a high intensity scan? I want to take an X-ray.
I will simply point out, Captain, that I have concerns that our scanning equipment may have some effect on the being's processes. We are not generally equipped for scanning such large life forms whose innards are formed in such ways.
Well, the starship sensors can be directed on a single individual on a planet's surface without harm. What specific danger do you foresee?
Well, if this entity is indeed crystalline in nature, and we disrupt any of its electrical impulses, we may be causing harm or changing it in some way, some fundamental way that the spatial travel it faces would not.
Perhaps if we modified our sensors to operate on a subspace band as opposed to a temporal one. Subspace operates in a subdomain of real space and technically does not interact with normal matter.
We could also use the being's own tendril, for lack of a better term, to interface with it and get a picture of its internals without sending any energy of our own.
Will it require the ship to get in proximity?
No, the being has already lassoed us.
Then we'll consider that an invitation. And he'll tap his comm badge and say, Lieutenant Phelan and Commander Stern to the bridge.
I thought for a minute you were going to try and talk to it and be like, what do you
No.
want?
Hello there.
What do you want, whale person? Love that. Love that. Stern and Phelan make it to the
Yes.
bridge.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It seems to be the issue, Captain.
We are about to attempt contact with an unknown life form, and I would like you at your station.
Very well.
I'm assuming they're on the view screen, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so Stern will absolutely look at them in fascination.
And Commander Stern, I would like you to co-opt one of the alternate science stations for medical scans.
Yes, Captain.
Let's start making some checks. Who wants to go first?
So this is a crystalline thing, right?
Mhm.
It looks like a Gumtooth. Do you remember Gumtooth?
No.
Tin Man? Hang on,
Giant. Yeah,
Oh.
I'll
link it to
put it
the
up in
general.
the I'll put it in the
Yeah.
chat. In the episode where the
Mhm.
Betazoid, the living ship, was lonely.
Okay.
Huh.
Well, just in case, Phelan is going to start looking around for structural weak points in this thing.
So give me a control security. Insight
Focus.
security difficulty of 2.
Focus. Threat awareness.
Yeah.
Just 1.
Nothing. I mean, it's a giant comet.
Can I assist since I've been sending
Absolutely.
science scans
100%. Yeah.
the whole time?
100%, man.
And that was a control security, you said?
Yep.
Oof. I'm good at control, not so much.
Well,
Focus
you
is
can assist with
xenobiology?
something else. You could be like science and security or something.
Yeah, if it can be science. Control science would be great because I have been forwarding all my scans to
Control
the
science.
tactical
Yeah,
station.
Control science. Yep, that would be fine.
Xenobiology as a focus?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I've got that too.
Perfect. So what you would know is that this thing has like a ring of ice around kind of its center. So if you imagine that it's a teardrop shape, if you were to start at the teardrop and go back kind of like a cross, it's cross-sectioned into 4 parts with this like layer of ice that if you were to shoot a high intensity phaser at, you could melt and literally break the thing apart.
Can I ask what might be a really stupid question?
Yeah.
Is the front of it the bulbous end of the teardrop or the pointed end?
The bulbous end.
Okay, cool. That's what I was picturing, but
Yep. No, I'm glad you asked. That's not stupid. It's great. Yeah, this show's literally unwatchable with Drew eating. I just can't.
No.
Immersion
That'll
ruined.
never
Horrible.
get old. to me.
You're not.
That was
No,
so funny.
that's always going to be
The
funny.
real reason Wolf doesn't stream anymore.
Yeah, it was that.
I'm glad my string cheese can be so distracting.
So distracting. It's terrible.
Listen.
You're killing me. I'm dead right now on the floor. All right. So yes, you have discovered a very easy way. You wouldn't even have to do full power. This thing would melt right away and it would just fall apart. What are the scans we're making? What else are we trying to discover?
while Stern does her medical scan, Hall will turn to the captain and say, Captain, the reason I am concerned about the intensity of our scans is that we did do a full panel of scans on this comet 2 days ago. And since then, its composition has changed. And it has turned, and I fear that perhaps the reason it is in distress is something we did, which is why it has sought us out a second time.
I'm not willing to rule that out as a possibility, though. I find it highly unlikely in all the centuries of recorded space travel. Standard scans have never harmed anything. However, we are new around here. Try to verify that for me, Lieutenant.
Aye, sir. I would like to run a comparison between the scans of the in-depth scans of the comet we took 2 days ago and the cursory ones I did when it was at long distance, to see if there is any indication of what could have caused the change in composition.
So, despite what the captain said, it appears that your scans of the creature, when you first made the scan, it had this, let's call it a sort of thin exoskeleton, which there are parts of it that it still exists, but it appears to be falling off, almost as though it's molting or something like that. But the more and more of some of this vapor that's coming off, you realize that it's a protective barrier. The thing is losing its protective barrier and is likely, if it can feel pain, it's likely in pain. Could have been the scans.
Is there
Could have
a
been...
way?
Go ahead.
Is there a way for us to reproduce the composite? Like, since we have the scans from 2 days ago, is there a way that we can reproduce its shell?
Yes. You could definitely do some research to figure that out. I think that's something that Lieutenant Commander Stern would likely want to help with, because it's definitely some xenobiology.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Doctor, if I may.
Yes.
I would like you to verify some suppositions I have made based on the scans of this comet creature. You will see here that when we scanned it 2 days ago, it seemed to have some sort of protective envelope, which appears to be shedding. But I believe that there might be a way that we could reproduce its and replace the affected regions, perhaps reducing its discomfort. I'm forwarding my findings to the science station upon which you sit. So if you would like to verify my findings, please.
Yes, give me a few minutes.
Give me a reason and medicine. Difficulty of 3, Lieutenant Commander Stern.
Xenobiology.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a focus for sure. You do have 1 momentum, I believe. Who's tracking momentum? Brian, you're the new guy. You can do it.
I can. Yeah, I can. I like to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god! Well, you got more momentum now. You got 3 momentum.
Oh my
Holy crap!
goodness.
That was a great roll, Stern. Well done. So, instantaneously, you realize that it wasn't the scans that did it, but when you guys were traveling at warp, this thing crossed behind you and kind of clipped your warp trail. Like, as you travel through warp, it does disrupt space slightly, right? Like, it leaves a little bit of, like, wake. It hit your wake, and something about the wake disrupted its natural cycle. All right? Now, with 4 successes, it's as though its body is still, it's like it's caught in the storm surge, and it's like water constantly hitting against a pier or a dock, and it's slowly whittling away at the stonework, or slowly whittling away at the foundation of the... Just like that, Stern. That was perfectly done. Yes, it was a very good visual representation. If you want to do it again, just for everyone at home, just that sort of thing was good.
Your mic keeps going in and out. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's because I'm leaning
Might just be on my end, but I've missed.
Is everyone else missing me too?
No, I heard you.
Oh,
No, I got you.
All right.
Okay, well, it's just me then.
I've
all night it's been in and out. And I'm like
that's
hoping
terrible.
for the best.
I'm hoping for the best. Well, condolences, and I will do my best to speak clearer and more concisely so that you can hear me.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's okay. You've still managed to make fun of Ulrich, and really, that's the most important part of the process.
You're right.
With that being said, it's like it's having a spasm of some sort, or it's having a seizure,
Okay.
And as it's having a Sheezer, it's shedding its protective barrier. You guys need to figure out a way to stop it from seizing.
Okay. Also with that scan, can I get a not chemical compound, but like what's it made out of? Did we already establish that?
The compound of its
Largely,
protective barrier? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Crystalline,
Oh.
is that what you said?
yeah, it's largely nickel and gold with some crystalline factors that we hadn't caught the first time.
And it's the
Um,
ship itself that's seizing, or is the ship the life form, or the
No,
life
so
form's
the
within?
thing itself is like a life form.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so Stern will share her findings and compile and forward them to both whatever your name is. Sorry, Hall.
All
To Hall and Oates and the captain. Actually, probably just the whole bridge crew. Just
Yeah, absolutely.
everybody needs that information. And
Hall.
would recommend something to shock it back out of its rhythm.
Hey, Hall, you remember that experiment that you were trying to run with energy
Yeah.
transfer?
the axionic energy bubbles.
I mean, you probably don't want to touch this thing because touching it last time hurt it. So if you could somehow transfer energy to it without needing to touch, I don't know, that could work.
Captain, I haven't quite worked out the mechanics of this, but theoretically, I have an answer to the unasked question: how can we help this thing without touching it?
No, I think that question was implicit in our presence here.
Well, if we were able to create an axionic bubble with the forward deflector dish and fill it almost like a glass with energy and then blow that bubble toward the life form, I believe this may enable it to consume that energy without any untoward effects on it.
Man, creating an energy bubble, that sounds awful like something that the chief of engineers
Chief
would help
engineer?
with.
Yeah. And I think with that, the captain is going to hit his comm badge and go bridge to Commander Flitz.
Flitz here, Captain.
Commander, I'm going to be sending down Lieutenant Hall, our new science officer. He has some modifications that need to be made so that we can assist the spaceborne life form.
Very well. Wolf, do I know anything about what's been going on?
I mean, I'm assuming they would send you all the data.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's got access to the ship.
No, I mean like
directly from
in
engineering, yeah.
general, like yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're bored enough to where you're probably watching anything and everything that's going on.
It's probably an operations or a status screen in the
Yeah. All right, perfect. Very well, Captain. I will await his arrival. And I guess I'm gonna go over to Bronson. Why were you studying whales earlier, Lieutenant?
She's moved on from humpbacks and killer whales and is now on to belugas. And she says, I'll be honest, Flitz, I don't really know. I just sort of went down a rabbit hole. I was looking at different life forms. I know I'm an engineer, but I've always had some slight interest in medicine.
Because the alien ships that we are currently being paced by are sending signals that approximate whale song.
She blinks a few times, slightly confused. Huh. A weird coincidence, sir?
Yeah, no. Probably not. Should I... He pulls out a tricorder. Does a quick med scan. Like, is there anything weird going on with her?
Insight medicine, difficulty of 1.
I'm gonna use a momentum there if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, hell
Just in case.
Oh,
Nothing. She seems completely normal.
Okay, well, we get a momentum back because of my backup plans.
Nice.
Okay. Do you feel all right, Lieutenant?
I feel fine. Are you okay, sir?
It seems coincidence. Too much of a coincidence.
Okay.
Should I call the doctor down?
I'm fine, sir, but let's get ready for Lieutenant Hall to arrive. Lieutenant Hall, you enter in. You watch
despite
as
the fact
Bronson
that he
turns into a whale and starts belugaing. No, I'm just kidding. It's terrible. What a twist.
what a twist. Despite the fact that Hall's been on the ship for a while, he doesn't go into main engineering a lot, so he still like gets in and is like, and then spots Flitz and moves over towards him.
Yeah.
Commander.
Lieutenant, welcome to main engineering. I hear you have a project you wish to work
Yes,
on?
sir. In fact, I believe we may be able to tap one of your engineering compatriots with whom I've already spoken about this project. Her name is T'Pol? I don't remember what her name actually was.
Bronson lifts one of her flippers and calls T'Pol over. Puts it down.
her flippers. What kind of race is
She
she?
just turned into a beluga, remember?
I'm just kidding.
He's just
I'm making jokes.
He's being an asshole.
I guess I didn't hear that.
Sorry, I know I'm cutting it out for you. I made a joke about her turning into a whale. My bad.
Oh.
No, she will. T'Pol comes over. Continue.
I recently postulated that it would be possible for the ship to create axionic containment fields, which I referred to as axionic energy bubbles. And it seems that my postulations, which I made in the throes of boredom, have suddenly become quite salient, because it seems it may be an opportunity for us to both prove my conjecture and aid the spaceborne life form that is matching our pace.
He looks over the data pad or whatever you have.
Mhm.
What do you think, Lieutenant?
I have done
And he
some
looks over at
preliminary
Bronson.
investigations into your suggestion of this bubble, and I believe if we restrict the multivariant Polaron pulse manifold, we could create a stable bubble, at least for a few minutes, that should give us enough time to push towards the creature. It would be unstable for anything longer than that, and without proper time and more research, would be the best we could do on such short notice.
Bronson?
She says. All right, I'm done. Bronson looks over the findings. Well, thinks, considers. If we boost the primary baryon gradient harmonic, we could use the main deflector as a kind of like a bucket to hold the bubble.
Dear God.
And then we could gingerly push it forward, but keep it stable for a bit longer, so we would hold the bubble and only release it near the end, so that it maintained its structural integrity for the longest amount of time possible, and only had to travel a short distance to actually connect with the creature.
Well, sounds doable to me. Mr. Hall?
I would be delighted to see this theory come to life.
Then let us collaborate.
I have to close the Discord. I have to. I can't. It's just so funny. I can't stay focused. You guys are so funny. Just laugh constantly. I love it. All right, where were we? Okay. Oh my god.
We broke him.
You guys keep breaking me. I can't stay focused. I can't. You're making it really hard. You guys are mean.
That's what she said.
No.
Ugh. Damn it.
The Klingon stare.
Ugh.
Careless. No, never mind.
All right. All right. So here's where we're at. Okay. Here's where we're at. All right. So this is gonna be an extended task. Okay. This is creating the bubble. Okay. We're gonna have limited attempts. The limited attempts are gonna indicate, because this is gonna take several hours to do, right? The creature is indeed dying, and it's like reaching out, trying to ask for help. Okay, like that's the indication you're getting. So you're gonna have a max number of attempts of 5. Base difficulty is going to be 4. Resistance will be 2. Magnitude will be 2. The amount of work that you need will be 10. Breakthroughs needed. All right. Okay, I got this set up. Looks good. All right, so we are going to begin. This is going to be, now you can one will make the primary check, one will assist. I believe engineering should make the primary check, and that science should assist. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to have you do a control engineering. No. What's the one that you do well with, Flitz? Reason?
Reason.
Reason engineering. Your difficulty is 4. That's your base difficulty. All right. You have momentum. You can always give me threat. It's our first session in a while, so I'm not feeling like a complete jerk.
Huh.
Come on, that chess thing was funny. I don't care who
Well,
you
you
are.
sure acted.
Let's see. I think theoretical experimental physics would definitely be a good
100%, yes.
Let's see. I'm gonna use
Actually, I'm gonna make the base difficulty 3. 4 was way too high. Forgive me.
I'm gonna use a momentum,
Mhm.
and I've got 1 automatic success as well.
Beautiful.
And a focus.
Nice.
I'll buy that for $1.
All right, and we got. Okay, that's fantastic. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get 3 momentum, and I'm gonna have you roll.
4 momentum.
4 momentum, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna have you roll 5 challenge dice, please. No,
We have
4
a floating
challenge dice.
momentum.
4
Yeah, we
challenge
have
dice.
a floating.
You could take that and buy an additional challenge die.
Could do that.
Or we can just reduce the resistance to nothing.
That's
We
true. You
could.
could.
Yeah, which should give us 2
And
actual.
then it's all work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At
Correct.
that point. Putting that work in.
9 to 5.
Yeah, spend it to just get rid of the resistance and roll me that.
How many challenge dice did we say?
Rolling 5 challenge dice.
Isn't it 5 plus the discipline? So it's actually 10
Yes,
challenge
it'd be
dice.
10 challenge dice. Forgive me. You're right. You're right.
Wow.
Ay, 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 ay.
I
Mhm.
just did this on Tuesday of last week. So
Yeah, I always mess up with these. They're like the only real complicated thing.
Wow.
Wow. The dice
Wow.
hate you. That's crazy.
You
They
rolled
always
10 and you
have.
got a 3? How?
That wow.
I mean, you could spend a point
let's
of
spend a
momentum
threat to
reroll.
reroll 7 of those, or 6 of those actually.
Yeah,
How
I
do
would.
you
Yeah.
roll
Or
negative
spend a momentum, sorry.
numbers? Oh,
There's no negative numbers. He
wow.
just rolled a bunch of zeros.
Wow.
Oof.
Sad space rock whale noises.
Right?
Oh, I'm gonna die.
Okay, so I'm rerolling 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, of 10? No, you were rerolling 8 because you only got 2
Yeah.
successes.
Reroll 8.
A 1
Yeah.
plus effect and a 2.
Okay.
That's rough.
There you go.
Okay.
That's
So now we're at
wild.
15.
15 now.
Yeah. All right. Jesus.
Wow.
Hold on.
So then we
All
just
right.
stomp.
You
though.
succeed on the first go around. You figure it out. That was crazy awesome.
First
I actually
go-around.
found there's this website, Heroes of Awesome, that you can plug in all the numbers and then you just do how many successes they get, which is super helpful.
Nice.
This is
I
actually-
definitely didn't use that for the session that I ran it, and
Yeah,
then
this is fantastic.
immediately bookmark it.
Yeah, and
Nice.
immediately go, I should have made this more work.
Yes.
Yeah, live and learn, right? It's all good. That's fantastic. You break through instantaneously in the course of an hour. You figure it out, Flitz. That positronic brain of yours and a human, mushy pink mind just does it. Just figures it out. And you take your findings back up to the bridge, and without being too fanciful about it, your guys are able to create this bubble. You're able to cup it, and then you push it off. It collides with this creature, and as you are scanning it, Lieutenant Hall, you watch as this sort of thick layer of darkened sort of crystalline dust forms up around it, and you're no longer getting those additional scans. You're only reading that gold and that nickel and a little bit of that water vapor. And as that happens, that dust that was reaching out pulls back. There is this sound that comes over the speakers, a sort of happy sound, and as it drifts off, you can see it sort of move out of your warp bubble, and as it does, you see it join a school of
Pod?
additional like a
Pod.
pod, yeah, of additional these like weird rock creatures, and then they disappear out of the warp bubble off into the distance.
Oh.
Which is
Is there-
fantastic.
Is there any of the shed material left that we
Yeah.
could collect and sample?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd like some of that.
Done.
And as it flies away, it's just the captain with a tear in his eyes. Lieutenant Phelan, fire torpedoes. It's like, no,
Finally!
no.
Full spread.
Full spread. Maximum meal.
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Yeah, he went to a farm. He went to live on
No.
a farm.
Yeah, he said he's went to live on a farm. It's fine.
No.
Space farm.
That's-
Shut up and
No.
eat your jello.
Yeah. Oh no.
You said torpedoes, okay?
I did
Shut up
say
and eat your rock
torpedoes.
candy. That's
Yes,
really
beautiful,
funny.
but a beautiful,
And,
beautiful sight.
The rest of the journey over this day is without event. And Lieutenant
Hey.
Commander Stern mentioned she wanted to have a scene with Lieutenant Phelan. And where would you guys like to have this scene?
Over a game of chess?
No. We've had enough chess for this game.
Says you.
Are cheesy.
Yes.
Gin rummy.
Jim
Yeah.
Gravel.
Go fish.
Yeah.
Tic-tac-toe, all right?
War.
Just let's make it simple.
We're playing honorable. We're playing war.
That's right. The only game Klingons know.
Yes.
And they're not as good at it as I think they are.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I rule at war. It's like, he sucks. It's just like,
I figure I probably just finished my game of Klingon chess with Ardal.
Who won?
I think Phelan for a tutorial game probably I won't say let her win, but enabled her to win.
You can play Shoots and Ladders.
Yeah,
Nah, Candyland.
Fucking, I was just about to say Candyland. Yes.
the game of life.
Monopoly.
Yes.
You know, no one plays Monopoly, correct? There's, like,
Monopoly
all these rules we didn't know.
fucking sucks.
The whole
Okay.
Yeah,
game.
Monopoly blows.
We
Monopoly.
played the short version, and I quit after 6 hours.
Yep.
I was like,
Monopoly, aka late stage capitalism. The game.
There is a way better game called Chinatown, which is basically like the thing that everyone thinks Monopoly is. The whole part of like, here's all the wheeling and dealing you're supposed to do in Monopoly, except it's actually the game. It's way better.
all right, Phelan, where are we meeting?
I think
You just gonna play some Catan?
Phelan's probably discussing the finer points of the last game as he's kind of taking her back to your office.
Okay.
I guess if that's kind of where she still hangs out.
I don't know. Sure.
It's where she sequesters herself.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
Boom. The medical bay.
Yeah.
Where our doll has a cot set up because she doesn't get her own quarters.
Oh, she doesn't even get quarters.
She
Get
gets
fucked.
I mean,
She lives-
there's at least 2 quarters open now. You lost 2 crew members.
Oh my
She lives-
god.
She lives in the closet under the stairs.
Exactly.
Yes.
We built stairs just so we could put a
We
closet.
did.
In the floorboards underneath the turbo lift.
Yeah.
Yes. And Harak wants to hide the bacon there now, but
She's- There's a garage on the ship and she lives in there. It's like a
Where is
lawnmower.
Bacon?
it's the mother-in-law suite.
Yeah, there you go.
I hate it. I love
It's
it,
called.
but I hate
It's
it.
like, hey, you guys, it's a carriage house. It's like, no, it's a garage.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
garage.
I love it. I love
The
it. I love it.
garage.
All right.
The
Take it away.
garage.
Take it away, my friends.
All right. So I'll look up when you two have walked in. Kind of.
Lieutenant Commander Stern.
Oh no, I forgot what your rank is. Are you just commander?
I'm
Are you
just
lieutenant? Oh, okay. Lieutenant.
Finger wave from Ardal.
Guten Abend. How was your game?
Sehr gut. Danke.
She's proving quite the cunning strategist.
That is good to hear. Ardal, if you would like to head out to the food room, I will meet you there shortly.
Cafeteria?
The mess hall.
Very good. She will nod to Phelan, grateful. She will say "Kapla," and then she will leave.
Is she still dressed like a Klingon?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And it's
What do you think you're doing? It's what?
Cleanser.
Please,
That's what I said. We'll fix it in post.
Oh.
No, you're good.
Lieutenant, what do you think you're doing?
I've been instructing her, first of all, in self-defense, and she had questions about my philosophy, and I answered them.
Why is she dressed like you?
I would assume that she has taken some liking to some of the philosophies that I've spoken of her to. That's how that sentence should end. Of her too.
This. Maybe if I unplug, I keep.
Oh.
Let me say something.
Hello.
Hello.
We'll
Yes.
see if,
Check 1, check 2.
if this is any better.
I was muted, so the thing I said probably didn't help.
Mike check.
Ah,
Mike
that
check.
would
No,
help.
I only hear hard words like that. So I'm like, the fuck are people saying?
If this is better, would you like to play some chess?
Oh my god.
It's working.
Get out of my sick bay. Okay, sorry. I appreciate the time you are taking to teach us these things, but surely you have better things you could be doing.
May I take it that you take issue with my spending time with Ardal, mentoring her?
That would be correct.
This would have no doubt something to do with the incidents you've had in your past with my people, yes?
Doesn't have anything to do with me. It's for her.
I
want
am
her to be safe.
my job. The thing that I have sworn to the Federation to do is to keep the people on this ship safe. If I am failing in that regard, I would trust you to tell me to do so. To tell me so. I am teaching her how to defend herself, giving her purpose that she lacked.
Don't you think it has become a bit obsessive?
If Ardal has taken an inordinate amount of interest, then perhaps it is because other areas of focus on the ship do not appeal to her quite as much. I am not telling her anything against her will. I'm not deceiving her in any way.
I think going forward, I will be monitoring her free time a bit more closely.
Understood. As Phelan turns for a second, he kind of turns back for a moment. I was the third of 5 brothers. 4 of them are dead now, all at the hands of humans.
I was one of thousands. All of them are dead.
Hmm.
The hands of Klingons.
And yet, here we are, on the same ship, on the same mission, trying to look after the best interests of the same person.
Oh, it would seem.
Well, I am glad to know that there is more than one of us taking an interest in Ardal's well-being. And I look forward to seeing what lessons you impart upon her.
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Commander.
As the two of you part, door is open.
And at that point, Phelan will turn and leave.
Door is open. Door is closed, leaving Stern alone with herself in her obnoxiously clean medical bay. And candidly speaking, I think that's a good place to end today's session. That was a great cadence. I want to compliment you guys. That scene was fire. It was a fire scene. It was intense. That was really good. I felt like everyone got back into character super quick. I had a great time. Looking forward to our next session. Here's the game plan. I'm going to give you guys some options of where to go. We're going to go back to that. So I'll have that up by the end of this week, this upcoming week, which will give you guys a week to discuss. I just asked that by Wednesday before our next session, you guys let me know which encounter, which location you want to head to, and we're going to go back to simply just exploring the Tau Galaxy. But phenomenal session. I had so much fun. I know we got a little off track there, but it was so much fun to see everyone laughing and having a good time. That's what's the most important thing. We'll get as much done as we get done, but just enjoying some time with friends, seeing you guys laughing, and honestly, just looks like you were having a great time. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before I get ready to end the recording and wrap things up?
Seriously, great game, guys.
Yeah, thanks for letting me join, guys.
No,
I feel like I needed this game a lot more than I thought I did.
Good.
It's a good night.
Well, we'll be back here in 2 weeks' time. We're going to get back on a regular schedule. We're going to start playing more regularly and get through this season 2 and then move on to 3 and see what kind of stories we tell. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
But,
Sounds good.
As I always say at the end of every session, thank you to the players for playing. Without you guys and Gal, this is impossible. Thank you to anybody watching. We appreciate and hope you're as entertained as we are. Happy gaming, and remember, the dice have a story to tell. And today it was, I need to set the amount of work higher. That's the story they told. But great job, Flitz. So be well, be safe. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.